Hello and welcome to another edition of Meet the Red Cross. I'm Dave Griffith, the Executive Director of the Heart of Missouri chapter, and with me today I have two guests, and our first guest is John Pelzer, who is a local businessman as well as a board member for us. Our second guest is Kayla Wilbers, and Kayla is also a board member, and she's going to be talking with us about a special event that Club Red is going to be having here real soon. John, welcome to Meet the Red Cross.
Pleasure to be here.
Glad to have you with us today.
Thank you.
John, first off, and I like in every one of these shows, I like for our audience to really get to know who you are, and many times when people think about how they can become involved with the Red Cross and be a board member, many of them think that I don't know what the qualifications are, and really there are none. And I just want to let you know.
And I qualify.
Well, I didn't mean that the way it came out, but I do want to have them just kind of get to know who you are, and you've been around Jefferson City for a while, so
sure
kind of give us some of your background.
Well, we moved here in 1981. I had been city manager of Kirksville, Missouri, and was recruited by then Governor Kit Bond to come down and become Commissioner of Administration. And I stayed with the state for 8 years and worked for both Governors Bond and Ashcroft. And since then have been working in association management, much like you, with the Restaurant Association and the Petroleum Marketers Association, and lobbying for small business. And then, as many people know, the last 11 years or so, in addition to that, we are the owners of Bush's Florist. So it's been an interesting career.
And now you're also a board member for the Heart of Missouri chapter.
I am, okay. and happy to do so.
Tell us a little bit about the lobbying part of your job. I know living in the capital city that there are, many of us know what lobbyists do, but for those that really don't understand that, lobbyists in many respects have gotten a bad rap. And I think that maybe clearing up in education is a good way of eliminating that.
Sure. Well, I've always looked at myself more as an advocate than the negative connotation of lobbyist. When I started lobbying, of course, I was an association director, and so much of it, 90% of it, is simply educating, legislators and agency officials about your industry, what your needs are, why you need it, and working with them in an education without lobbyists advocating for certain organizations or certain issues. There's a real lack of understanding on the part of legislators as to what both sides of an issue might be. So I think they provide a very valuable resource. My work has been primarily in small business, whether it's been with convenience stores and petroleum marketers, petroleum distributors, restaurants, small contractors, whom I represent now. It's always been the small businessman, and that's kind of how I ended up being a small businessman. So I've advocated for them for 20 years, and now I are one.
Well, that kind of segues into our next part about what you've been doing at Bush's Florist. And how did that all come about anyway?
Again, my wife and I were wanting to become business owners, and we looked around for a few years, and through some people we met and knew, found out that this business was available, and we talked with the owners, and pretty soon became the owners. And I think in 2001 we bought Bush's Florist, and it's been a wonderful experience for us. And one thing I've learned about small business, it's easier running the state of Missouri, which I did, than it is running a small business, so and far less time consuming. So.
Well, one of the things that you've done, and actually over the 12 years that you've been the owners of Bush's Florist, you've done a number of special events throughout that time, and the wreaths thing we did for the
Wreaths for
veterans,
Heroes, yes.
That was one that really brought your name out there, and then you give away mums, or you do the mum giveaway every year. And what really got you to looking at those kind of special events in the first place?
We've always been had close ties to the National Guard and to the military in this town, and we've received awards from the National Guard for our service to military members in Jefferson City. Going back to 9/11, actually, shortly after 9/11, you may recall that there was a shortage of flags, patriotic materials of any sort. And I found a supplier out of Pennsylvania that had 10,000 yards of red, white, and blue ribbon, a striped ribbon. So I obtained that, and out of that 10,000 yards, we made little over 1,000 big ribbons, big bows, suitable for putting on trees or the fronts of cars, on doorways. And we gave out 1,000 of these red, white, and blue ribbons about 2 weeks after 9/11. And for the next several months, we would see these ribbons on the fronts of emergency vehicles, on trees, on doorways, on the governor's door in the state capitol, all over the place. And so we continued with the tradition every 9/11 since then. And a few years ago, we went to the yellow mum, suitable for planting. We wanted a lasting tribute to our military folks, and that's kind of how we got to the mum giveaway, and we've been doing that for probably 5 years now. And it's been a real popular event and something we enjoy doing.
Well, and this year, and I want to thank you, but this year we were the recipients of the benefit from that and the money that's raised from that. And personally, I want to thank you for that, and it just continues the awareness that we have of what the Red Cross is doing. But how do you arrive at who's going to receive those funds?
Well, we've always had, our recipients have been the United Way several years, and of course, the Red Cross is a member of the United Way. Last year we did the Wreaths for Heroes when we were trying to raise money for the 1,600 wreaths that we put on each grave in the National Cemetery here in Jefferson City. This year we chose the Red Cross, a little more specific, but the money is used locally, and that's our main criteria, that it stays to a local organization that uses the money locally and regionally. So we were happy to do it. And I might add, we don't charge anything for the mums. It's a free giveaway, but people come in and say, you know, I'd like to get an extra one, and we say there's a jar there. If you'd like to make a donation, we'd appreciate it for the second one. And so folks, you know, readily make contributions.
Well, and it really falls into much of the mindset of what you had at the very beginning, because the American Red Cross, with the service to armed forces that we have, and the support that we give to our local firefighters and police force. So there's definitely an allegiance and a tie there as well.
Absolutely.
But we're also very, very strong partners with our local United Way as well.
That's right.
So let's get, just for a few minutes, let's talk about your being on the board of directors. How did all that come about?
It's a sad story, I suppose. A little over a year ago, we lost our granddaughter, and my daughter, who was visiting in Jefferson City at the time this happened, our granddaughter was 2 years old, and it happened on the same day that the tornadoes hit Joplin. A few months later, my daughter wanted to find a charity to remember Isabel through, and she did a Bubbles for Isabel thing through Facebook, raised some money. With that money, bought really nice baby blankets and wanted to donate them to the families with children in Joplin. We didn't know how to distribute those blankets or get them to the right people in Joplin, so we worked through the Heart of America Red Cross, and the Red Cross helped us distribute those blankets, and was really the point the point person for us in that effort. And my wife and I and my whole family, my daughter and her husband, are truly appreciative and grateful to the Red Cross for their help.
You know, I know it's a hard story for you to tell, and it's one that many of us who are friends of yours have known, and you know, through one tragedy and then another tragedy, that how you can provide an integral part of helping a lot of those families recover, and blankets for many children and for smaller children are something that's very important to them. Many of them keep them, I think, into their adulthood, but but it's something that we can hold on to, and we can find some comfort in, and that was definitely appreciated by those folks in Joplin. And we had the chance not long ago to go down there and really hear firsthand from them how appreciative they were of the gifts that they received at that time. Well,
Our family is happy to do it. My daughter, I think there were 500 blankets in all that were distributed, and she was grateful that they were done, you know, the right way through the Red Cross.
Being a board member for the Heart of Missouri chapter, how has that been for you, and what have you learned through that process?
Well, I'm learning each time. I think I'm a new board member, and I've been to, I believe, 3 board meetings so far, and each time I attend, I learn something new about the Red Cross. I particularly enjoy the volunteers and professionals that come in and speak to us at the beginning of each meeting and tell us their experiences, whether it's been helping out at fire scenes or other activities. We had an individual, as you know, from Fort Leonard Wood that came up and told us about the relationship between the Red Cross and the military of Fort Leonard Wood. It's just been a great education process for me, and I'm just looking forward to getting more and more involved and active in volunteer activities with the Red Cross.
All right. Well, John, I appreciate you being my guest today and for sharing with us your story, and I really appreciate you being on our board of directors and all that you bring to that.
Well, I enjoy doing it, and thanks for having me.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Stay with us. We'll be right back after the break, and with Kayla Wilbers, who's going to be talking to us about Club Red.
More than half of America's most important military decisions are made here. No, it's not the Pentagon or NORAD or the headquarters of Air Combat Command. It's the place that employs over 50% of our armed forces. It's where you work.
See you in a couple weeks.
So when your employees in the National Guard and Reserve need time off to serve, give them the freedom to protect ours.
Lead paint poisoning affects over 1 million children today. If your home was built before 1978, call or log on.
Welcome back to Meet the Red Cross. I'm Dave Griffith, the Executive Director of the Heart of Missouri chapter, and as promised, our second guest that we have is Kayla Wilbers, and Kayla is the Vice Chairman of our Board of Directors, and she is also one of the founding members of Club Red. And Club Red has got a special event going on November 3rd. Kayla, welcome back to Meet the Red Cross. You've been a guest of ours before. And now we're going to be talking about a special event on November 3rd. Tell us about that.
Yeah. On November 3rd, Club Red is hosting the first annual Tiger Boil, which is a southern shrimp boil during the MU versus Florida football game. We're doing the event in conjunction with a few other groups in town, and we're just going to gather together to watch the game and cheer on the Tigers. Okay.
Well, they need some cheering on from depending on who we're going to be playing, but hopefully that's going to be a good game for us. But
it's Florida, it should be.
How did y'all come up with this idea?
Sports brings together a lot of people in the community, and so we thought it would be a good idea for both male sports junkies and their families and wives and friends to gather together to celebrate one of the games of the inaugural SEC season. So we thought it would just be a fun event to bring some of the Southern style cuisine up to Missouri and have a shrimp boil during the game.
There seems to be a new synergy this year since Missouri joined the SEC, that the pep rallies that we're having downtown on the nights before a game, and a lot of what's happening over in Columbia in the district down there, and but a lot of events that are happening right here in Jefferson City. So this is yet another one that our audience is welcome to come and to attend, have some good food, and at the same time support the American Red Cross.
Absolutely. It's at the American Legion, again, Saturday, November 3rd, and it's an adults-only event, but the ticket prices are $30 for a single ticket, $50 for 2 tickets, and that includes your meal and 3 drinks of your choice. And then there'll be some other stuff going on there. We'll play a game. We're going to do a college game day sign contest. So when you come in for $5, you can make a game day sign, and then people will vote on the signs with dollar bills throughout the game. And then the sign with the most dollars wins, and the person that made the sign gets half that pot.
Okay. Well, I would imagine we're going to be able to watch the game there that day as well, correct?
Oh yeah. The Legion is really nice because there are multiple TVs around already, and then we're also maybe thinking about bringing in a big screen and projector. We're partnering with the alumni MU Cole County chapter, and so they have all kinds of black and gold pom-poms and table tents and all kinds of stuff. So we're kind of going to transform the place into black and gold and red too.
Okay. Well, it sounds like a fun event. But I know that the last time you were here, and we've had Morgan Fechtel, who's also one of your co-chairmen with Club Red, talk to us about Club Red. But maybe you can kind of refresh our memories, and for those that haven't watched this show, to kind of tell us about what Club Red is all about and how that got started.
Sure. I joined the board, I think, in 2010, and about that time is when it was getting started through the St. Louis chapter. And it's just a way for younger people to learn about the Red Cross and the services that it provides and get them excited about how they can help. Young people specifically have more time to donate necessarily than dollars. So we looked at that when forming our group as well. And so we think this event is a good way to get the younger groups of people and older groups combined together for an event to celebrate what the Red Cross does and help provide money toward that cause.
And this is not the first event that you've had for the Red Cross, is it?
No, we've done a few different things. Last year about this time we did a Halloween bar crawl, if you will, and it was a good success, but we thought this year with the SEC that we'd switch it up. And then coming around back in March of next year, we'll go back to our basketball tournament and work with the local sheriffs and police departments and hospitals on doing that tournament as well.
Okay. Well, let's talk, just very briefly, let's talk about the disaster dunk that we had last year. And what kind of turnout did you have for that, and what kind of response did you have for that?
For the first year, we had an excellent response. We probably had, off the top of my head, I think we had close to 6-7 teams, roughly. So it was Jeff City Fire Department had a team, Police Department had a team, Cole County Sheriff's Department had a team, and then we also had some community teams as well. And they came together, and it was an all-day tournament. They worked hard that day. They were tired by the end. And so it was a fee to enroll your team, and then each team helped raise money for the Red Cross as well. And then we had a get-together afterward and gave prizes for first place, second place, so on and so forth. So the team that won was actually the Jefferson City High School coaches and teachers put together a team, and the championship game was the fire department versus the JCHS coaches and teachers, and it was a good game.
Was there some competition there?
There was a little.
They're competitive, aren't they?
Yeah, the fire department said, you can't beat us, but to their dismay, they had, I think, 3 consecutive games. So the other team had a little bit of a break, and the fire department just went boom, 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 and they were worn out.
Well, I think one of the other things that you did on that day, which besides having the basketball game and the fun that went along with that and the fundraising, was you had some booths that were set up on the outside that talked about the mission.
Yeah, we did. Anything from pet CPR to training classes that people could enroll in. There were booths along the outside entrance of the event, if you will. And so for kids coming to that event, they could go around kind of a passport system and get a punch for visiting the various stations. And then we did a drawing for the kids that completed all their punches.
Well, I think that's one of the things we try and do with every event that we have, is to have information that's available to folks that are out there that attend those, that let them know how they can become more engaged with the Red Cross, why that's important, and actually an educational piece that there may be a lot of people that were there that day, that came that day, that didn't know that we had pet CPR. And,
right.
For many people, their pets are their family as well, so that's a very good piece.
Yeah.
But the Club Red, is there a standard, or is there an age group that generally falls in if somebody wanted to become a member of Club Red?
Sure. I believe the age starts about 21 and heads up until 40-ish. You're going to make me say who's too old and who's too young.
I'm gonna.
But really, if you're interested, anyone's welcome to get involved with the group. And typically, it's average 30s is the age. And just an exciting group of young people that are willing to be creative and put new ideas together to raise money for the Red Cross.
And really, there are some organizations that are here in town that are geared more towards young professionals and those that are in business. And Club Red really is open to anybody that falls within that age group, correct?
Definitely. It's the main purpose is to just continue the traditions with building new followers and supporters of the organization. Because as everyone knows, you go through phases. So we're just trying to reinvent the Red Cross in a way that interests young people and encourages them to get involved now and in the future. So.
And give the date and time once again.
For the Tiger Boil?
Yeah.
Okay, so the Tiger Boil is Saturday, November 3rd. It'll be an hour before kickoff, so they won't announce the game time until a week before, roughly. So stay tuned. All the tickets and stuff will be at the Red Cross, flyers, people can get information there, and then they'll be all set to go.
Okay. At the very beginning of our interview, we talked, I said that you were now the new vice chairman of our board of directors, and you've been on the board for a couple of years. What does being the vice chairman of the board for the Heart of Missouri chapter, what does that mean to you?
It means a lot to me. I had my first encounter with the Red Cross at a young age was when I received the Heart of the Hero award at that time, and that was for a little girl that had a seizure while swimming at Memorial Pool. And so for me, it speaks volumes, and I'm happy to dedicate my time and talents to the organization and making sure that it has a good reputation in the community and gets people involved, and I'm happy to do that.
Well, by being a lifesaver, and that's what we've named that now, but what kind of training did you have that led you to the point where you felt empowered to be able to do that?
At the time, lifeguarding, and I'm not going to be able to remember the name of the company, but we had to meet so many training hours for CPR and organizations, and Heimlich's and all kinds of things. So we had to go to like Saturday morning certification sessions on a monthly basis, twice a month. So at any time you're prepared, but you don't really know it until it happens, and then you're like, oh, but it just comes to you. So.
Well, I think that's a key statement, that by having the training, it does empower you, and you feel like that you don't have to be a bystander, but that you can step in and you can make a difference in somebody's life, and that's what we do every day, is in training those people, and it's because of people like you and the stories that we have, that we hear from you about the successes. So often we hear the negatives that go on but the success stories are what we really need to hear that, that empower those people.
Yeah.
All right, November the 3rd, it's a
Yep.
Saturday,
American Legion,
American Legion.
hour before kickoff.
And we know what time that is yet?
We won't know until probably a week or so in advance. So just stay tuned. Again, call the Red Cross if you have any other information on tickets, timing, and tickets are also available at the American Legion where the event's being held. Also at my office, Huber and Associates. So a couple different places that people can just stop by if they'd like to purchase a ticket.
Vectals, will they have them there as well? Or?
Probably not. I think it's just those locations.
All right.
Yep.
All right. Well, Kayla, thanks for being our guest today, and
Sure.
thanks for all that you do for the Board of Directors and your leadership with Club Red. And we've learned a lot of things, and one of the really good things about Club Red is it's beginning in St. Louis and spreading throughout Missouri. It's now an organization that is throughout the entire country. So,
Yeah.
and thank you for what you do. Appreciate
Sure.
you being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us for this edition of Meet the Red Cross. We'll be back again with you next month.